So you took a false step on a run or tried to change directions playing a sport and you pulled up a little lame and you think you pulled your calf muscle. It's getting sore, it's swelling up, you're getting stiff and you don't know what to do. Well, stay tuned and I'm going to show you exactly how to fix this from start to finish. Welcome back to the Move Better Project. Today we're talking about what to do if you pull your calf muscle. But before we get into that, we just want to make sure that you didn't rupture your Achilles tendon, which is a much more serious injury that's going to require medical attention. So first off, I just want to check, can I point my toe and pull it back actively? Okay? Can I do that against gravity? Can I point my toe if my lower leg is upside down? If I can do that, I'm probably okay. The physical therapy test we use to make sure the Achilles tendon is not ruptured is we squeeze the calf muscle and make sure that that points the toe. So if you squeeze your calf muscle and your ankle doesn't move, then you probably want to get that checked out. If you think you didn't rupture your Achilles tendon, it's just painful and stiff, but you can move it, then let's get into what might be going on. First, let's understand the calf muscles themselves. We really have two of them. There's the soleus, this deeper muscle that only crosses the ankle joint. And then there's the gastroc, this bigger two-headed monster that's up closer to the knee joint, and that crosses behind the knee as well as behind the ankle. So first, let's just figure out which of the two muscles that you probably injured. We can test this by figuring out what position is really more painful for you. Can we get into this straight-legged knee stretch? If doing that is painful, but bending the knee like this is not painful, you probably injured your gastroc. If both positions are painful, no matter what position your knee is in, you're still getting the pain in your calf, then you probably injured the soleus. That's really going to determine what kind of corrective exercises we do as we go through the program. All right, phase one is the days just following the injury and the day of the injury. And we really have two goals. One is we want to control the amount of swelling that takes place, and two is we want to maintain as much range of motion as possible. So to do both of those, we can use this tool called a voodoo or muscle floss band. So let's get into it. First, we want to wrap the calf tightly to minimize the amount of swelling that takes place and to allow us to just maintain the range of motion of that tissue that's going to start to stiffen up. So we have our band. I'm going to wrap from the bottom up. If you want more detail on how to use this and what this band's all about and how to use it to mobilize your ankle, you can click on the video that's going to pop up right here. But for now, I'm just going to show you the quick version. I'm wrapping this about half as tight as I could, wrapping over half of my last wrap, 50% tension, 50% overlap, and I'm gonna wrap as much of my calf muscle as I can get, starting just above the ankle and going up as close as I can get to the knee. Okay, so there it is. Phase one, I'm not interested in bearing weight or putting a lot of extra pressure through my ankle joint. I really just want to do active range of motion. So I'm flexing and extending my ankle, or plantar flexing, pointing my toe, dorsiflexing, pulling my toe back up. And I want to do that in more or less a non-weight bearing position. If I can tolerate, I can use a resistance band just to add a little bit of force, but still less force than standing up and putting a ton of my weight through this. I'm going to do this for about 40 or 50 reps, or about 2 minutes total, until I start to get tired in that muscle. And it's okay if you have a small amount of pain, but we want to keep the range of motion to where you're not having major pain symptoms. If you can tolerate it at this stage, you can stand up, put your foot on the ground, and just gently bend and extend the ankle. And you're gonna bend your knee if we determined that your soleus was where the injury is. You're gonna keep it straight if we determined that it was the gastroc. But again, very gentle. I'm not putting a ton of weight through that foot or really using the muscle much. I'm just passively moving it through a full range of motion. We want to make sure we're doing the voodoo band at least 3 times a day. to keep the swelling down. One benefit of that is that the compression will squeeze out some of the extra swelling that occurs. But I also want to be moving my ankle through a full range of motion throughout the day. So 3 to 5 times a day, I'm just going to do 40 to 50 reps of bending and extending my ankle, flexing and extending my ankle. And I can have a knee bent or the knee straight based on, again, which side of the injury. When your tibialis anterior muscle in the front of your shin starts to get tired, that's when you know you need to take a break. As you can tolerate, as your pain allows, we can add just a little bit of resistance with the resistance band. And this is still less than me doing, for instance, a calf raise, but it's a way to begin to load the muscle and the connective tissue that was damaged. So we've reduced the stiffness, we've reduced the swelling, we've preserved as much range of motion as possible in this injured calf. Now we got to start to rebuild that strength and mobility. So phase 2, we're going to be a little bit more aggressive in increasing range of motion and then starting to increase the strength of the injured muscle. So I'm going to start off, I'm going to smash the calf, and if my site of injury, your most tender area, is somewhere around here, usually it'll be different for every person, but find that I want to go above and below the site of the injury. So I've got my foam roller here, and I'm just going to smash side to side. You'll find a line of tension that corresponds with the site of the injury. Often it's on the outside of the calf. And then my technique is going to be to breathe in, point my toe, contract the muscle, breathe out, relax, and pull it into a stretch. If you want more detail on how to do the calf smash, click on this video up here. So I've got the voodoo once again on my calf. Now I'm going to do some range of motion with a little bit more load on it. I'm going to get into this down dog position. First the knee extended and just do some calf raises. And I want to work as I'm coming down on actively pulling my heel towards the ground, engaging my shin muscle, the tibialis anterior. Then I'll do the same thing with my knee bent. 20 or 25 reps on each of these, or until your muscle starts to get tired. You want to have the band on for about 2 minutes total. If you want to know more about using the voodoo band on your ankle, click on this video up here. In phase 2, we want to begin to strengthen muscles on both sides of the ankle joint. This exercise is called the tibialis raise, and it's very simple. I have my heels on the ground and I lift my toes up, dorsiflexing my ankle actively. The closer my heels are to the wall, the easier this exercise is. We want to do 20 to 25 reps or until this muscle starts to fatigue. In phase 2, we want to begin to strengthen the muscle and connective tissue of the calf without overloading it. And that's where the eccentric heel raise comes in. I simply lift up with 2 using my stronger uninjured side to help out the weaker injured side, and then lift up that stronger side, lower down with 1. Up with 2, and down with 1. We want to do these with both knees extended. For this, my body is in a straight line from my heels up to my head, leaning towards the wall, and with the knee bent. I'm also lifting up with 2 and lowering down with 1, but I want to make sure that my body is moving up and down, that my knee is bent, and my hips are forward. Eccentric calf raises can be done off of a step with the same technique. Up with 2 and down with 1, both with the knee straight and with the knee bent. For phase 3, we want to continue to aggressively increase range of motion. So I'm going to use, instead of the foam roller, which is a little more gentle, I'm going to either use a big massage ball or a lacrosse ball. The lacrosse ball, you'll find, is really intense when you find those trigger points, those really stiff areas. You can probably see on me, I'm sort of flopping over what feels like a steel cable within my calf muscle. I'm going to put pressure, maintain pressure on that stiff area. Breathe in, contract, breathe out, relax. And if I really want to get in there and I can tolerate it, I can add a little bit of load with my second leg, coming right on top of that. We're going to continue to use the voodoo band just as we did in phase 2, now doing more repetitions and through a bigger range of motion, while still only keeping the band on for about 2 minutes at a time. In phase 3, we're doing the same number of repetitions of the tibialis raise, but we've increased the range of motion and the load slightly by moving the feet farther from the wall. In phase 3, I'm switching to a single leg heel raise. I want to try to progress the range of motion to have my knee as far forward as I can get in the biggest dorsiflexion range of motion that I can get, and making sure that I'm pulling my heel all the way down to the floor every rep. The same goes for the single leg calf raise with the knee bent. Calf raises can also be performed off of a step, both with the knee straight and with the knee bent. So there you have it. That's the plan from start to finish for rehabbing a pulled calf muscle. Each phase used similar things. We focused on increasing range of motion using soft tissue work and muscle flossing, and we focused on loading through a full range of motion using exercise within pain tolerance. Whether you've injured your calf already or you just noticed that you have tight calves or tight Achilles, this program will give you a chance to start to work on those deficits, improve your range of motion while also strengthening your muscles and connective tissues. So try it out, let me know how it goes in the comments, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time.